Google products, okay? But there's a little bit of work that has to be done. So I'm actually going to open an old Word document. Let me see. And you can see my over-organization and hoarding tendencies by this. Because I'm going to pull up some files from when I taught 4th grade, which was approximately 13 years ago. No judgment, I'm sure. Okay. So, I like to say that a long time ago, somebody a lot smarter than me, who's I'm sure making a lot more money than any of us in this room, decided to color code productivity software. And the reason I say that is because if you are working on a Word document, it is a W that is what color? Okay, and if you're working on an Excel document, it is an X that is green. And if you're working on a PowerPoint, it is a P that is red. Okay, it used to be orange. It's more red now. So the Google equivalents are actually the same color, okay? So your docs are gonna be blue, and your sheets are gonna be green, and your slides are gonna be orange. So when you just see the icon, you kind of know what it is without opening it, without even thinking about it, okay? So, but these files here are actually old Excel files, and Word files. These are Office files. And I can tell because that's not just a blue square, it's a blue W, okay? So I'm going to open this Kentucky Writing Scoring Rubric. Anybody teach 4th grade writing back in the day where they were writing portfolios? They were from the devil. I just fully believe they were from the devil himself. I say if I would have known you didn't have to teach portfolios forever, I might still be a 4th grade teacher. Also, if Google would have been around, I might still be a 4th grade teacher because the worst, I just remember this story, because Google automatically saves. I should have said that at the beginning. That's the best thing about it. There's no save button because it just does it. Because it knows. Who types something and doesn't want to save it? Like, it just knows you want to save it. I remember when I taught 4th grade, I had this sweet little girl. I can see her face. And she was working on her writing portfolio, and we had like a mini lab. They had those Mac computers that were like bright colors. They were like bubbly and like, people are not, like purple and red. So I sent her down. She was at a purple one. Like, I won't remember this story until the day that I die. So she was working on her writing piece. It was time to go to music. I went to get her. She'd been down there for an hour, so she had about 3 sentences, right? And so I said, log off your computer, and it's time to go. And so she clicked the button, and it pops up that box. And I just knew, you just have a bad feeling in your stomach when something bad's going to happen. I knew she was going to hit no. I knew it. And it was like, I was trying to like get to her. Like, don't do it. She hits no, everything's gone. So I used to think that the worst thing ever was watching a 10-year-old try to type. Okay? Then I learned the portfolio police, whoever that was, apparently said that if you had physical proof that the kid had already typed it, you could retype it for them if they lost it. But it had to match exactly. And then I learned the worst thing ever is a grown adult woman trying to type like she was 10 with 17 spaces between the words and no punctuation. Now, if we'd had Google Docs back then, that sweet little girl would have had her work saved and it wouldn't have been a problem. Okay, so let's look at this writing rubric. Now, if I just wanted to use this rubric, if I just wanted to print it and hand it off to my kids, or I just wanted to, post it somewhere, I'm good right now. I can print it, hand it out, whatever. But do you notice there's no like editing toolbar? Like you don't see anything? Okay. Now, if I want to edit it, I can't do that unless I open it as a Google Doc. Okay. So at the top, I'm gonna hover my mouse and click Open with Google Docs. It's gonna do some magic, and then once it pops up, I'm gonna be able to edit it. So here we go. So now I can change it. So let's say I want to fix some of those spaces, or I want to change some of those words, or I want to change the font, or whatever. Okay. So let's say I'm just going to change the font to this obnoxious one so we can tell it's been changed. Okay. Now, fast forward 1 year from now, and I decide to use this writing rubric again, and I go to open it from my Google Drive, and it looks the same. Where's my font change? That lady that gave the Google training said it saves automatically. I've had so many people call me and say, you said it saves automatically. And when I pull it up, it's still the old one. Well, that's because this is not the right one. So what happens is, when it opens it as a Google Doc, it's actually making a copy. So now I have two. I have a Word version and I have a Google version, okay? And the problem is, I see somebody like, oh, the problem is that people keep opening that Word version. I think just because you're used to that, right? So then you have like 4 copies and 8 copies and however many times you've opened it. So I always tell people, once you've converted it, you just drag that Word copy straight to the trash. Because you don't need 2, okay? You just need 1. Now, I usually have a teacher say to me, I can't do that because, for instance, I have, Sally's in her IEP, it says every Friday I have to send her mom her worksheets, whatever, her writing rubric, whatever. And her mom doesn't have a Google Drive, so I can't send this to her because I can't share it with her. Well, there's a little trick called File, Download As, Microsoft Word, okay? And then the people who get that don't know the difference. They don't know you didn't type it in Word. In fact, we have some of our central office departments are slower to move to Google Drive, and there's one Excel file that has to be filled out by HR. Now, don't tell them my secrets. I'm sharing this with you. It's trust. It's a circle of trust. But I turned it in as a Google Sheet, and the person at central office said, I cannot accept this. This is not in the right format. You have to redo it in Excel. Well, I don't even have Excel on my computer. So I just waited an appropriate amount of time, like maybe 5 minutes. And then I took the same sheet I had just shared with her and did download as Excel, and I sent it to her in an email. She said, thank you so much for redoing it. It's fine. I'll play your game. Okay. You can also download it as like bridge text. PDF is really helpful. Especially for putting things on websites, because that's going to be an OCR PDF. Or there's some other files too you can download it as. But you don't need in your Google Drive an Office version and a Google version. If you want to make changes to it, just keep the Google version, download the original, or delete the original. You can always download that one as Word. Does that make sense? Are we good? Okay.
Can I ask a really silly, odd question?
Yeah.
I obviously love Microsoft Word. I use it all the time.
Okay.
What would be the benefit for myself of changing like units or something that I see other teachers nodding with me, like, so they must be thinking it too, changing my Microsoft things that I have to Google. Like, if I'm not going to share with anybody and it's just me using it for that lesson, okay, thank you.
I think somebody else was asking this question. Do it.
You don't have to bring the flash drive home. You don't have to have access to the H drive, because once you put it in Google, you can go home and work on it. You can work on it anywhere because it's in a happy place, safe and sound.
So where I save everything that I do on the weekend to my desktop. If I, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And if
You can
your
also
computer
not
gets
full
dropped in the
You can also
rain,
do it from here.
it still doesn't get lost because it
Yeah.
was in Google.
Yeah, you can also do it from here. Like there's an app. You can do it from your phone.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't recommend it.
Yeah,
But
I would do it.
right, but I mean, if push comes to shove, in a pinch. Yes.
That's one of the main things is where she said if you drop it in the rain, or if your computer crashes, then I don't have to dig through it
Then
and
I
try
just
to
call you and scream at you.
then try to pull your files off of a crashed hard drive. And that's why we've activated team drives and started encouraging those. The only thing I ask is if you do it, add me to your team drive, because we can kind of use those like we do our shared folder, and then you have access anywhere. And a lot of schools have gone to Google only. I know Boyle County, they don't really have a shared drive anymore. They use Google, which I don't know if I like that all just yet, but yeah.
I see the better. I was just trying to understand for
Yeah.
myself because my brain is used to Word. You
Right,
know?
absolutely.
Like my lesson plans are on an Excel Word thing.
Yeah.
So I guess I could do what you just said.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay.
So, and it really is personal preference.
Yes.
I mean, I prefer docs, but I mean, if you prefer Word, then do what you know. You do
Okay.
you. Like do what you know. But if you get to the point ever where you do want to share it with somebody, Or if you start using Google Classroom, it just integrates so much better with the Google products.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And so that might make you be like, oh, wait, now I think I do want to start. But like some districts have, so when we moved all of our users to Google Drive for storage and we uploaded all their stuff, some districts who have done that have like, there's a checkbox that you can say, when you upload a Word document, you go ahead and make it a Google Doc. And I was like, like, because if they don't want it, I'm not forcing them to do this. And so if you just want to use it for cloud storage, so you could, like, go home, log into your Google Drive, download as Microsoft Word, work on it, and re-upload it. But if you just stay online in Google Docs, it's just saving you steps because you just open it, change it, and then when you get to work, it's that same file. It's the latest file. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I use a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
And I use Publisher a
Yes.
whole lot.
Yes.
Are they compatible in any way, or is there anything on Google that allows for desktop publishing?
What do you make in Publisher?
I just use a lot of pictures. My students need a lot of picture
Yeah.
support, and I make everything.
But like, is it like a flyer or a newsletter, or you're just using it basically to put the images in?
Like worksheets, like
Yeah,
lots
all
and
kinds
lots
of
of
things. Yes.
Yeah. All the things, Erin, all the things.
Communication boards, worksheets, everything.
Yeah. So, the reason I ask is because I'm trying to get our teachers to think outside the box, and so a lot of times, I showed this to the special ed directors in the fall. A lot of times, I get a lot of pushback from my elementary people who want really cutesy, and I can say, like, I'm not judging y'all. I'm the same way. But they want really cutesy newsletters, and when they convert their Word newsletter to Docs, it's a hot mess because Docs is a little bit watered down version of Word. So what I tell them to do is take a PowerPoint, open a slides. It's not PowerPoint slides. Open a Google Slides. You can set the orientation to be like this, and you can set it to be 8.5 by 11. And then you can put text boxes in and clip art and that kind of stuff. And you can print it as a newsletter. But you would never think, like, in the Microsoft world, like, I'm going to make a newsletter. Let me open PowerPoint because that doesn't make sense. But it's a different way of thinking. There's also a separate program called Lucid Press, and it does a lot of like brochures and that kind of avenue of publisher to have a kid make a brochure or a flyer or something.
this would be more like alternate paper.
Yeah, this is for the kid,
Yeah. Yeah.
The benefit of Publisher, as opposed to like Word or PowerPoint for that, is that you can overlap and format how you want to, and it's very flexible.
Yes.
In how you format, and it doesn't try to align it for you.
Okay.
So would Google Drawings be a better option?
Yeah, or slides. You can do that in slides or drawings. You can, put in images, crop them, lay images on top. Yeah, search the web for images and import them directly or insert them directly.
So like when you're making, like what Chanda was saying, like, because we obviously all use pictures and stuff at school. So if I want to get a picture of Indian tribe I'm teaching, and I go to Google and I type in Cherokee Indians, and I click on it, copy image, and bring it to Microsoft Word, I don't have to do that anymore.
No, let me
Microsoft
show you.
document, it's easier, like, and then I cut them all apart and maybe not change it.
So I'm going to open just a blank slideshow.
Gotcha.
Okay. And again, if I wanted to orient this page like a piece of paper, I would just do file, page setup, custom, and then it would be 8.5 by 11. So now I have a piece of paper that you can easily print. If that's if that's something you want to do. Okay, I'm going to go insert image. So here are my options, and this is true in Word. In Docs also, but I think it's easier to have a bunch of moving parts and pieces in slides. So I have upload from computer. So if you have the picture already, search the web, import it from your drive, from Photos by URL, or even Canva. So you could turn the webcam on your laptop and take your own picture. I don't know if you want to do that, but you can. So I'm going to click search the web, and over here it pops up my Google image search, and I'm going to say Cherokee. Oh, nope.
Not a grand.
I'm going to add the word Indians. That's really funny. Okay, so I'm gonna click, and then we'll click insert at the bottom, and there it is.
Gotcha.
And then I can really easily drag this, double click, and crop this. I can also crop it in a shape, if it matters. Like that's an arrow. There's a heart in there. There are also circles and things.
Can you have where like you can break it apart to kind of make a puzzle where the kids have to put it together on a smartboard, or? Because I just usually print mine, use the magic scissors and cut them apart.
Yeah, you probably can, but I don't know how. Yeah,
That would be a smart notebook tool.
yeah.
Gotcha. I didn't know if this could do that, if Google could do that too.
And so then, because this is it thinks it's like the first, slide of a slideshow. There's a couple text boxes in here. I can move those around, change the font in them. I can right click on this and change the background color. Put more text boxes in, add shapes, add lines. Honestly, Google Drawing and to do this kind of thing in slides or Google Drawing, my daddy would say, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Okay, they work basically the same. The benefit to using Google Drawings is that you can download it with a transparent background. And so if you wanted to overlay that on a page that was like a website that was a purple background, it would just kind of blend in and not be like, oh, look at this white box with these graphics inside. Does that help?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go back to Drive for a second and talk about searching and the different places in Drive. So someone had said, I can't find things in my Drive all the time at the beginning when I said, what do you want to learn? So there are 3 main places in Drive. My Drive, Shared with Me, and Team Drives. Okay? So My Drive is going to be anything that you upload is going to go into My Drive. Anything that you create is going to go in My Drive. I mean, not my, you know what I mean? Not My Drive. It's called My Drive. I think it's like a little confusing. Or anything that you make a copy of. Okay? So all the files that you own, remember I talked earlier about the owner, all the files that you own are going to be titled under My Drive. Okay? Now, I get a lot of people who say, Erin, I know you shared that Excel sheet, that Google sheet with me. I cannot find it anywhere. Okay, where are you looking? I'm looking in My Drive. That's not where it is. Okay? So if someone shares something with you, it's under Shared with Me and it's not in your Drive. Okay? Now, if I open Shared with Me, which I like to lovingly call it the bad neighborhood of Google Drive. Okay? I always talk about in Lexington, there's a fish place on the corner of Liberty and Winchester. Charlie's, okay? Now, if you know anything about Charlie's, it's like the best fish you can get in this landlocked state in which we live. But if you know anything about Lexington, Liberty and Winchester is not the greatest place to be. Okay? So, like, if you want to get a fish sandwich there, you go during the day, you take a friend, you get in, you get what you want, and you get out. And that's how I feel about Shared with Me, okay? If I want something in there, I'm going to get in, and I won't get out as soon as I find it. Because this, to me, someone who has OCD and is over-organized, this is a nightmare, okay? And I've had people say, like, well, I'm just going to we're NTI, right? So teachers will say, like, on our next NTI day, I'm going to spend some time organizing my Shared with Me. That's not cleaning somebody else's house. That's not your stuff. Like, you're just wasting time, okay? So it's organized by the latest it was shared with you. But if you're in like a group that gets shared with or a shared folder and you need something from like 2 weeks ago, you might be scrolling for 5 minutes, okay? So what I tell people is, as soon as someone shares something with you, if you know that you're gonna need it again, all you do is click it and drag it into My Drive, okay? And now it is in your Drive. Now it's still their file. You don't own it. It's still their file. But you can access it a lot easier, and then when you're done, you can drag it to your trash, but guess what? It's still their file, so you didn't delete it for them. Okay? So that's like a big thing that people get confused on. But if you're just working in the regular Drive, not Team Drive, I'll get to that in a second, but if you're just in Drive and Shared with Me, if you don't own it, you can't delete it. Question?
I think you just answered it. So, because my shared drive is a mess.
Yes,
But
say it.
if I tried, can you delete from shared with me?
Mhm.
No? Okay, because I never tried because I was afraid I would
Yeah.
and then.
No, I mean, you, like, again, it's like cleaning somebody else's house. Just stay out of there. Just get in and get what you need and then get it and get out. Take it out with you so you don't have to go back.
Okay.
Okay. Yes?
Can you make files and share with me?
No.
Just dumb stuff.
No. It just, and the reason is because those files where they actually live is in somebody else's house. And it's very neat in a bin put away in their drawer. I like to do it. But and so you're just seeing like a link to it. And so it just looks like a nightmare. Now, another thing you can do for easy access to files is from Shared with Me or My Drive. If you right click on it, you can click this Add to Starred. And then over here in your list of places to go, you have Starred. And so these, for me, are files that I use a lot, okay? And so I know that I'm going to be using them a lot, but I don't want them to just hang out in the root of my Google Drive. I want them to be in their home, okay, where they live. But I need easy access to them. So I just star them. So one of the things is like our school numbers. Like I'm all the time having to like code stuff, right? And I can't ever remember who's what. And so I just have that starred. So I know that I just go and it's right there, okay? Like our AUP, our district letterhead, like things that I just use a lot. And so I've just starred them so that I know that's basically, in Google Chrome, when you star something up here, it makes it like a bookmark. You're basically bookmarking those files, okay, for easy access. And then when you decide that you don't need them anymore, you just right click on it and say remove star, and then it just goes away. And so it's still in your drive wherever it was. It's just not in your shortcuts. Now, as far as